Hey everyone, I'm back again. It's amazing weekend of track and field. I was here on Friday with Deja, and since then, tremendous performances all around in the collegiate circuit, World Indoor, and obviously there's a little bit of stuff happening in Jamaica there at the Gibson Relay. So I'm back to, basically go over some of the fantastic performances this weekend. A little bit of a roundup. I had to come back really quickly because there's so many things to talk about. Uh, I really think about track and field in 2023, and I'm asking myself, what's really going on? There's some fantastic performances happening right in the month of February, and I feel like we have to kind of work through some of those things. So I appreciate you if you're joining me today. I'll go over a bunch of stuff. It's your show as well, and I hopefully we can get to talk about it. I know this is a track and field show, but if you're a Manchester United fan, well, one trophy under Eric Ten Hag and up with the Reds. So I'll get back to that on a different show. But back to the track and field. So look, amazing performances in the month of February. And so for me, I was trying to think through this recently, and I'm saying to myself, is February the new May or June? Like, what is going on? Why are we seeing so many record breaking performances, world best, world records? That's a lot of stuff to be happening this early, considering that the World Championship is all the way down in August. I understand the collegiate athletes doing fantastically well. That is part of their game. And we know that when they have such a long season, it might be difficult for them to continue and do well later down in as the World Championships approach. But there's a number of things, and since we've been live on Friday, a lot of things have been happening. And I feel like it's fitting that there's no way we can start, or I can't start the show without probably the greatest performance of the weekend. And it comes as no surprise that it's gonna come before I get to that. But there's a few things I want to talk about: Mondo, Segai, all of those people, and we'll get to it. Audience interaction. Feel free to drop your comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your questions, I'll feature them on the channel as usual, and I appreciate those of you who have been who are on the live, and if you're watching on rebroadcast, also I appreciate you. But we can't start without this guy, Mondo Duplantis. I don't even know what to say. I mean, we knew the world record would come again, come really early, 6 meters 22. And I'm looking at Mondo and I'm trying to think about all the statements he made, all the statements people are making about what is the limit for the men's pole vault. And the question about maybe 6 meters 30 doesn't look so ridiculous again. I still think that's ridiculous, but when you look at the jump, and I'm hoping that most of you got a chance to look at it, at least from the camera angle on some of the stills that I saw, it looks as if Mondo has way more. It's just like the margin that's there suggests that he can go much further, and it's scary to think. And I'm liking that he's doing it on the circuit as well, because I'd love for him to break the world record in Budapest, but you have to secure the gold medal there. Chances are you probably secure the gold medal at 6 meters, really low, depending on what happens, maybe 6:05-ish or so. But then that gives him ample time to be fresh, so he can, then go out and make another assault on the world record. But I don't know. I mean, like, I was happy to see former record holder Renaud Lavigny just run out there in deep celebration, which continues to show the kind of commitment that others have around you. And when you see a fantastic talent like Mondo, and we've talked about him before, you recognize how important he is to the sport. He's very young. I remember watching the great Sergei Bubka, and I never thought I would see anything like it. And Mondo has come and surpassed that, and he has an opportunity, along with the ability to take the sport even much further. And I'm looking at this, and I'm wondering if will he take it closer to 6:30, and what at one point appeared to be a ridiculous thing no longer seems as if it's that ridiculous. And I love it. I love to see the field events. He's a really bright spark for the sport, and I hope he's able to knock this off relatively soon again and just continue to go higher and higher. Let me know how far you think Mondo can go. I mean, can he get close to 6:30? When you look at that picture, go look at it. And I know camera angles can be odd, especially given what we see, but he's way, 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 way over the bar, and that suggests there is a significant. I mean, looking at that, there's clear 625 is in the cards for sure. 6:30 sounds ridiculous, as I said before, but I think that's where it's gonna. That might be the limit. There has to be a limit, But clearly he's the man to do it, and long may it continue. So good performance, Amanda. Thanks everyone for joining, and feel free to drop your comments, and I'm looking forward to good interaction this evening as we go over some of the top stuff that happens this weekend. And so if Mondo was probably the best of the weekend, considering it's a world record, at least since Friday, since I was here Friday, then I want to go back and talk about a woman that is just performing in a manner that we must appreciate, and it's to go back to Segai again in Birmingham on Saturday, Saturday morning our time if you're on this side of the continent, and or this side of the world. We saw Segai do something special, right? I mean, she ran 8 minutes 16:69. That's 900 of a seconds off the 3,000 meter indoor world record. That is out there, I mean, I know Debaba did a really fantastic job at one point to put the world record to a level, but she is there, and I think she could probably break it. I mean, if you start to see all that new stuff that they're doing, especially on that track where the wavelength technology, and you see how quickly she was tracking the kind of pacing there, I swear she was going to break the world record, but it wasn't to be. She didn't break it, but it was very close. And that time is nothing. It's absolutely nothing to sneeze at. It's I don't even know what to say. I mean, I'm thinking about it, and I'm wondering, I'm trying to put this in context, like if she's doing this now, what is gonna happen when we get to August? Because you have to think she's seasoned. She's a seasoned veteran. She's 26, I believe, at this moment. She is the reigning 5,000 meter champion. So she's very competitive. I know it's tough to make the team there for Ethiopia, but narrowly missing out on this suggests that there's a level of speed there as well. I mean, because she was kicking really hard at the end. And I wonder where we're going to go. I mean, like, this is the question I'm asking, and maybe you guys can help me out with this. When I see some of these athletes out here early, especially the seasoned veterans, it makes me wonder, like, to think about what happened in background training and what exactly are they working on. Because an athlete like this can wait a little bit if she wanted to, right? I know the distance runners have to run a lot and whatever they say in the coaching manuals, but she's fantastic, and what she did was just tremendous. And looking at that too, it makes me feel like distance running is constantly in a safe space in terms of great performances, and I'm looking forward to a lot more here. And at that meet in Birmingham, I thought distance performances really put things on the map again. And she was great. And so thanks everyone for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe on Sports Talk Tech. I do a lot of videos. I'm doing a lot of track and field videos right now, doing lives, want some audience interaction. Let me know your thoughts on some of the fantastic stuff that happened this weekend. If you're joining on the rebroadcast, let me know where you're joining me from and put your stuff in the comments. I'll get to them. As you know, I try to be very accommodating in terms of my interaction with you guys. And so I'm looking forward to a great experience with you. We were live on Friday with my friend Deje, the journalist out of Nigeria. But by the time we got off the live, there's so many new things happening. And so I want to move from the great Sagai to another, I think, great in the making, an individual that will again challenge Athing Mu, someone that could potentially beat Athing Mu if she's not at her best, and someone that's still what, 20, and it's Great Britain's Keely Hodgkinson. Keely again is doing some amazing things this year. It's clear her background training is stellar, fantastic performances so far for her this season. And again, she went out there in Birmingham and she took 200 of second off her own British world record, clocking 157 18 time over the women's 800 meters. We've already seen her over 500 meters this year, I think, or 600. And so she's doing some great things, and it's really good to see. But one of the things I was thinking about Keely, and after I watched the event Saturday morning, I had to, drive out for a little bit. I had to go to the gym, and I was also watching on my phone, and I was listening to the BBC, maybe on the way back, I think, after the event, and they had Jenny Meadows, the former British long distance runner as well, and I think she's played an instrumental role, or plays an instrumental role, in the development of Hodgkinson. And one of the things that she talked about was the kind of work that they're putting her through. And obviously, to get to these levels, it's a lot of tough stuff. And she kept reminding Keely, I think, if I'm paraphrasing or interpreting what she's saying, that the kind of work that we're making you do is 155 territory all the time, right? So it's putting her in a position to, if you're in a 155 territory all the time, you're not going to get beat, right? Like it's going to be hard for people to beat you. Let me put that in a different context. Obviously, Athing is there. And so the question is, they want to get her to 155 flat or better. That's the kind of levels you're probably going to be needing. And we've talked about this on a couple of lives before, and we haven't seen Athing, which in part, when she pulled out of Melrose, you wonder if it's because Hodgkinson's on fire, or you just don't want, or maybe she's battling something like an injury, or not necessarily ready to showcase where she is. But it's highly competitive at women's 800 meters, and I really think that Keely is probably putting herself in a position to stake claim here, right? That she wants to be on the top of the podium, right? And I'm just looking forward to that showdown. But can she run 155 or better? That's one of my questions. So let me know. Yeah, but Hodgkinson, top performance. There's a lot of great stuff happened there in Birmingham for sure. Women's 60 meters as well, and we can touch on that. But that was something to behold, I thought. Yeah. Appreciate everybody on the live. Moving along, I want to move from a little bit from distance running, and I want to talk a little bit about a man that does not understand what it means to lose a race. And I want to go to the great Grant Holloway, still unbeaten. Going into this race in Birmingham, I said to myself, yeah, he is the favorite. He still is the favorite. But Daniel Roberts was having a fantastic season. He ran some good times. He was just like I think 100 of a second shy of Holloway's impressive performance for the year. But you said to yourself, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But Holloway goes in and he blows him out of the park. He beats him by what, 0.12, I think, if the data set, if I remember the times. And can anybody beat Grant over 60 meters? I guess the answer to that question is no, because he hasn't been beaten since 2014. That is out there, right? Is he trying to do some performance? Is it an Edwin Moses performance he wants to pull off here? I mean, I know 60-meter hurdles is just an indoor thing, but we shouldn't compare what Edwin Moses did outdoors, but Grant Holloway is the best, I think, probably the best ever to eight hurdles. It's when we get a little bit beyond that now where you can see sometimes some difficulties that he may face. But we see the likes of Parchment nipping him in Tokyo, and there's some races on the circuit where he tied up a little bit. But this is a fantastic guy. He is the world champion, and unless someone is running close to the world record later on, then there's no way we can count out Holloway here. And so I thought it was impressive. Roberts have been fantastic. The American hurdlers are always in the mix. But Grant is the man. And he showcased that. He was very smooth. He took down Roberts neatly. And that was fantastic to see. And, I guess long may continue. So those are some good performances that I saw that I thought, we needed to highlight, talk about ever since what happened since it came live. I want to touch a little bit. I want to change course and move away from the professionals for a little bit and talk some about what happened at these various indoor championships in collegiate circuit this week. A lot of great performances there as well. I thought there were some fantastic performances there. We can talk about them if you want. I don't have slides for all of them, but in particular, I was most pleased with Julien Alfred. I think the St. Lucian is on course to do something special. I think on Friday when I was discussing her with Deja, I was saying to myself, I asked him the question and I was thinking through this. So she runs, what's her PB? I think her PB is like 9.8 low, 10.8 low rather. I think it's like 10.81. And having seen her this season up until even before the championships this year, I was saying to myself, that's in jeopardy. This is a woman that looks like she wants to run 10.7 this year. And maybe not just dipping under, but maybe consistently running 10.7. And at this stage, running a 6.97, a new record for the collegians, it's hard to think that she won't do it. I mean, her body looks great. I mean, she's powerful built. She's running really well. And I just would love to see Julien fresh for the World Championships. I know that won't happen because of what happens in college. She's going to run a number of races for the Texas Longhorns. And she may end up showing up a little bit tired later on, right? And I think that would be the moment where she might miss out. But this is a woman that if she's fresh, if she can manage a season, get some downtime, and they can peak her again in time for the World Championships, then I think she should be able to get into that final. She's certainly got, one to beat probably in on the collegiate circuit. But I'm not even thinking about it. I want to think about her going much further. And I've said it before, and I think one of the good things about her season and her road rather to the World Championships is she will be able to get onto that team without worrying. This is not a collegiate athlete running a very long season and then have to try to make the American team, or the hardest team to make now, the Jamaican women team, for some time, right? That's not going to be the worry for her. She will get onto that team without doing anything. So it's just a matter of, can they manage her to come back and do something? But at this stage, I think she is fantastic. It's an amazing record, and not only to go and run the 697, but she comes back and she runs, what was it, 22:26. So I don't know what to say, but I anticipate a 10:7, and clearly she's going to run sub 22 again sometime outdoor the season, and yeah, it's going to be a fine performance. So I think she's on course. There's a lot more stuff on college that we can talk about if you want to, but I'm really excited about Julien. There's a lot of other collegians, obviously. There's Rosemary, there's Favour, ofili. I mean, there's all these people that will do some fantastic stuff. But over 200, I want to see her. I think it's going to be great competition there as well. And let's hope she's fresh coming into the World Championships, which is very hard for collegiate athletes. But yeah, she's fantastic. So that was one of the things that we couldn't have touched on Friday because it happened after we went live. And so, this is just amazing to see. Thanks everyone for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Put your comments or your questions, and we try to get to them. Yeah. So yeah, Julien was just fantastic. You see how far away she was from Rosemary, and she looking really good. Yeah. I want to talk about this guy, Ferdinand Omanyala. So I just went into college a little bit. Let's go back outside of college. We've been talking about Ferdinand Omanyala a lot of stuff with my guy Deja on this, who writes for Run Blog Run, journalist out of Nigeria, covers the continent really well. Actually, Deja has a new piece that just came out a while ago, and I will probably share it in the chat because he just sent it to me maybe a half an hour ago, and I was looking at it. It was a good piece there, and he kind of breaks down what we're seeing with Ferdinand. Should we be surprised? What's going on? One of the things that Deja has been saying, and I agree with him as well, is that Ferdinand has been running a lot this season, ran a lot of races indoor, a lot of 60 meters, and then he goes outdoor and he does some fantastic times. So he runs 986, then he goes to 982. I think he ran a 99 as well. So he's clearly in great shape, we must say. And as always, he's doing it in Kenya, in Nairobi. That's altitude. And so we should put that in context. So it's not as fast as it looks, but it's still pretty fast, especially for February. And that's the thing that I worry about. And we've seen a precedence already with Ferdinand that, he can deliver in Kenya, maybe a couple places in Europe, but can he consistently run the times outside? And that's where you need him. And I think where we really need to see him is to show up at the World Championships, right? I give him a buy from last year because the way in which he arrived at the World Championships in Oregon was not something that you want, right? Like, he basically got off a flight a few hours before he had to warm up for the 100 meters. And so we can't benchmark anything there. But what we can say so far from his season is that he seems to be in good shape, maybe a bit faster than we need. So the question is, like, you think about Ferdinand and you see him running these times with the asterisk for altitude. So give it a 9.9, maybe, maybe a 9.88. I don't know, depending. and you say to yourself, what does this mean for Ferdinand in August? So July to August. That's where I want to see it. Is he gonna be in a shape of a 9-7, 9-7-5? Can he get back to that 9? Can he get into a consistent 9-7s? I mean, the lesson from this for sure is that he has to be watched. If you are a Trevor and Bumel, if you're Fred Curley, if you're Kristen Coleman, Mark Lamont Jacobs, if you are now Ackeem Blake out of Jamaica, Oblique Seville, all these principles, maybe you throw in a Reese Prescott, whoever, Andre DeGrasse if he comes back healthy. All of these people have to look at this guy. He's already laid down the marker. The question is, has he thrown his hands out a little bit too early? Maybe these guys are like, whoa, I gotta be in shape, or am I not worried? We talked about Curly opening up on Friday when we had that discussion, and we saw how he opened up in fine form, right hand in the air in Melbourne. And so all I can say about Ferdinand, I want to see it, but make sure that you're bringing it in August. Because I'm saying if you can run a 9-9-ish, because we're going to say it's a 9-9-ish given the altitude. I haven't worked out the calculation this time. I want to see it. I want to see a 9 low 8s and 9-7s later on in the season. And I also don't want you to. If I can't give you advice, and I'm sure you wouldn't even listen if I did, which is perfectly fine. But do not be running every race on the circuit. Like, it doesn't make sense. Save yourself. Don't turn your preseason into a collegiate type season, because we know the end result of that. Everybody's going to show up fresh and you won't. And I understand, as I mentioned before, the urgency of making money and the need to do that. You have to live, but be smart about it. And I hope that you arrive fresh and ready, because we need all the principles there in Budapest, because I think it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. Let me know if you're going to the World Championships in Budapest. I'm kind of bummed out I won't be able to go to the World Championships. I was planning to go to the World Championships, but it kind of coincides with a time in my day job where I can't slag off. Maybe I can get there for maybe the weekend of the first 100 meter weekend. I haven't looked into it, but let me know. Let me know if you guys going to be at the pen relays. I have tickets. I need to get myself up to the pen relays too. It would be great to see some of you or meet some of you there. So yeah, that's fantastic from Ferdinand. But some people aren't surprised by this. Read my buddy's. I think Deja's new article. I probably could put it out as well because I want to support it. He just put that out earlier today, so I'm gonna put it in the chat for those of you who haven't seen this article yet from Deja. I want you to take a look at it. He's a friend of the channel. He and I have been going live quite a few times this season, and we plan to do some more. That's yeah. We plan to do some more, and yeah. So yeah, I appreciate everybody for joining me, and yeah, I'll share that. I'll share that in the comment section later on. Yeah. Okay. So for some reason, if you actually were sending me messages, I'm not quite sure if I'm getting them today, to be honest with you. Because I was trying to put some things there as well, and it's barring me from doing it. So I'm hoping that I'm not the there might be some issues with my my setup, and I didn't want to so maybe you guys are trying to give me comments, and for some reason it's not happening. But hopefully you can make comments on the rebroadcast. But yeah, for some reason my comment section isn't working. Even I can't even post my own comments, and I'm operating on the fly without any kind of support. So yeah, that was Ferdinand. Let's talk a little bit about Gibson relays. I don't know if many of you watch the Gibson Cook relays. It was fantastic. I was watching it all day. great performances by some of these youngsters. I was particularly impressed by DeAndre Daly, but he's been running a lot. Saw some races at when he was running for Herbert Myerson a couple weeks ago, and he ran quite a number of races yesterday as well, and he should be fantastic for champs. And yeah, so looking forward to that for sure. But I guess the elephant in the room here is to think about the men's 60 meters. We can talk a little bit about women's 60 meters as well. I thought the women were great. I liked the Clayton twins look good. One in particular, but the win, 2.0 and one was, I think, above the legal limit. So it's hard to say. There was a little bit of a kerfuffle in the first heat of the women's 60. They actually ran 70 meters, and because of that, I think for their own fairness, they had an A and a B final, if you want to put it that way, and so you weren't able to see some of the athletes potentially getting into a one final. So that was a little bit of a bummer, but I think they worked it out. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. But I want to talk about the men's 60 meters because I think that was great. And what was the win reading was, I think, 0.9. Neck and neck between Ackeem and Blake and Oblique Seville, separated by, I think it was, they both run 6:42, and it was like 0.414 versus 0.419. Ackeem looked good, but Oblique looks really smooth. Like there's a lot more in that tank, and his sprint mechanics are nice. He's a good to watch. I think Zarnell Hughes had to be separated with Yohan Blake as well, running 6:45. I want to say a word on Yohan, because I got when those results came out at first, before I was watching it obviously, but my friend Deja, he sent me this message. He's like, "What about Yohan? Like, should he call it?" I was like, "No." Yohan maybe less than an hour before, or maybe an hour before, ran a leg on the 4x1 rather, and for whatever it is, to have all of those guys running 6:4, even Hughes, which would be fantastic for Great Britain. But I'm impressed by that. Obviously, conditions were good, and you don't necessarily judge a 6:4 outdoor the same way you judge a 6:4 if they drop that indoor. But there's a lot of upside there. I think in one of the earlier legs I saw when Blake ran, was it the heat? He looked like he was shutting down and he didn't look so good, but clearly he probably was okay. And yeah, so what's the takeaway from this? It's hard to say, as usual. It suggests that they're in good shape. Can we extrapolate times from this right now? No. First race for some of these guys. I think it's Seville's first 60. I don't know, ever. Is it ever? I can't even, I'm not quite sure. I don't remember him running 60s last year, but my memory isn't this what it used to be. And so you think about that and you say to yourself, that's good to see, like if you can run that, there's a lot there. Maybe signal that background training is working. Speed work probably just started for some of these guys too, so who knows. But that's some good stuff. It's good to see that, because still early. We don't take cues. At least I don't think much about what happens in February until I want to see what happens come May, starting May, June. This year's an August World Championship, late August, mid to late August. So, I'm not taking serious cues until probably end of June. But it's good to see. I mean, that's as much as I can say. It's hard. I don't want to make predictions that I have to walk back on right now, but that is fantastic to see. So I was happy to see that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I don't know if you were trying to make comments. I apologize if it's not coming through. I don't really know what's happening, and I can't maneuver stuff right now on the internal dynamics, and I don't have a producer with me right now, so it's all me manning the systems, and I can't ask anybody to assist there. So I apologize if you wanted to make some comments. What I'll try to do is to make sure to see if we can make sure the comments on the rebroadcast is on point, so that way you can respond there. Yeah, so those are some big stuff that I saw since we left off on Friday from that Friday live. And yeah, there's a number of other stuff that happened that, we should do a little shout out on and talk about probably. I was, impressed by Jaden Hibbert, 1710. Was it 1710? Jaden Hibbert, as many of you know, is a freshman, first year student. He's a world junior champion, obviously, our world youth on a world under 20 champion. Supreme talent. So you think about that. That's big jumping there. How far can he go? He hasn't developed properly yet. I think but what we see is something to think about. I mentioned Dina Asher-Smith as well. I thought she looked good. Another PB in 7:03. That was something there. So also really impressed by Masai Russell. She looked really good over Akira Nugent. Was it 7-7? It's almost like 777, and Nugent was at 781. So those were some fantastic things. I watched those races with much pleasure. And yeah, Richards from Trinidad looked good in the 400 meters. He held off Vernon Norwood, who seems to run every race. Shout out to Vernon. Yeah. What else? Oh, Diggs. Diggs was fantastic. That's her first name, Talitha, I think. Make sure I got that right. Talitha, yeah. She looked fantastic. 50-15 over 400 meters. Look really strong. And that, that was great to see. I spare a thought for Adelike, if that's how it's pronounced. I butcher names a lot. From Texas, who had earlier, she had maybe under 2 hours earlier had a big record, and then all of a sudden, it disappeared on her. So yeah, but those are some other stuff. Cameron Kidd ran 20:27, looks good. Forgot to mention also, I should have mentioned this when we talked about Julien, but Jones, 6:48, hands out really early. That was something to behold as well. So he looked fantastic. And so a lot of stellar performances, particularly from the collegiate athletes. And, I liked it. Again, when we think about that kind of stuff, we realize what they are usually ahead of the pros because, they're running for college. But it sets up a nice outdoor season. My hope for many of these people is that they'll be able to be fresh come August. But that's like hope. It's not happening usually. They will run a lot of races, and that's a tough thing, and you don't necessarily will get to see them at their best come World Championships. Some might. I feel maybe Julien can upset the apple cart and be fresh because of not needing to prepare for national championships. But if you come from a powerhouse track and field nation, or even if you have a lot of other top competitors and you have to show up at your national championships and bring your best, then that can be problematic. But yeah, but those are the things I wanted to come on here tonight. I know probably some of you are trying to make comments, and I apologize that it's not coming through because I tried just now to share Deja's new article on Ferdinand Omanyala, but go check that out on Run Blog Run. And I wasn't able to share myself, and I'm running the system, so we got to figure that out. But thanks everyone for joining me today. I know it's not a long live, and maybe the technical difficulties may have hindered some of our interaction. But, I thought it was important that I come and talk some track and field stuff, because, a lot of good stuff happened this weekend. I still think to myself that nothing really comes out of February and you make any big claims. But that's not necessarily true. There are markers of some things that we saw over this indoor season in general in its totality that give you some hope. You see some stuff from Hutchinson, the things that Femke did. We talked about that on Friday as well. Doesn't mean that someone's going to break the world record or beat Sydney or do something, but you see some things there. And as long as they can manage the rest of the time from now in preparation for the World Championships, then some of those early season things may come out and look good. But a lot of fast times, a lot of big throws. We talked about Crouser on Friday as well, so I didn't go back into it today because I just wanted to talk about things that happened on Friday and on Saturday that we didn't get an opportunity to discuss. But yeah, stay tuned to the channel. I will be posting a lot of videos, and I'm going to try to go live more often, because there's something about getting this kind of community and audience interaction. And it's your show, and I apologize if you're trying to make a comment and it was not allowing you today. I think there are some setting issues here, but we'll solve that for the next live. I might go live sometime in the week if possible. If not, I'll be there on the weekend. I'm hoping to have Deja on again on the weekend so he and I can chop up and talk a little bit of track and field as usual. If we can make it work. We also apologize sometimes for the technical difficulties that occur over there in Nigeria, but it is what it is. But I know some of you may not like all of the other things I cover on the channel in terms of the sport, but there's a broad section of people who like sport and some of the sports that I like, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate you watching, and go check out some of the playlists that we have. I have videos that also explain the videos and so on. I'll be doing more of those as well, and going live so we can bond and talk a lot. So thanks everyone for joining me. I'm going to shut it down now because I fear that I'm hindering you guys from connecting with me today, and I go live again later on this week. And so stay safe rather, and have a great productive week, and I'll see you soon. Fantastic performances. Take care. Bye-bye.